I would venture to say that the majority of people that this video is going to reach this morning are going to relate to what I have to say. And that is that no matter what you are pursuing in life, you're going to want to be good at it. Or you're going to want to be thought of as having been good at it. You're going to want to be remembered that way. Isn't that correct? Um, and you want to know for yourself that your pursuit was worthwhile, your efforts weren't wasted, and you you want to know that it was worth it all. Isn't that correct? But do you ever feel like that whatever it is you're doing, that whatever it is you're after, may not be worth it because you see somebody in close proximity to you doing what you're doing, and they seem to do it so much better, don't they? Maybe we perceive them as having natural talent or just a gift, right? A gift for being able to do this thing, whatever it might be. And so we question the direction that we're moving in as to whether that's what we should be doing or something else. And if we know that we don't really have many other recourses, we have to deal with the fact that we may not be as good as we'd like to think that we should be. And it discourages us, doesn't it? It absolutely does discourage us. What do you do in these events? How do you handle these things? Because I can relate to it just like anybody else. You might be starting a business. You might be, or you might be in the throes of one right now, trying to make it work, especially with things as hard as they have been over the past year here, right? Um, you might be trying to raise children, and it all seems fun and cute and wonderful until they get to be teenagers, and then the challenging years ensue, and then you begin to question your ability to parent like you never have before, or maybe your relationships or your marriage is crumbling. And you thought, well, what worked before isn't working now. Um, your work, someone comes along, you've been doing what you've been doing for years, and someone new comes along and they seem to do it better, they do it faster, more efficient, and they're the golden child. Finally someone comes along they've been looking for, and all of a sudden you're not it anymore. Isn't that discouraging? And certainly this is something that nobody is immune to, believe it or not. If you feel this way or have felt this way, you are in good company, because this is part of the human experience. But here's what I want to leave you with. Here's how I want you to think of this morning. This is a little anecdote about President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He was awarding the Medal of Merit to a group of war correspondents at ceremonies in the National Press Club. And he said he regretted that he was not enough of an orator to do justice to the medal's recipients. Okay? So you can see how he felt about himself at that moment, being the President of the United States, of all things. Here's what he had to say to the people, to the recipients on that occasion. Listen carefully. He said, "It reminds me of my boyhood days on a Kansas farm. An old farmer had a cow that he wanted to buy. He went over to visit him and asked about the cow's pedigree. The old farmer didn't know what pedigree meant, so we asked him about the cow's butterfat production. He told us that he hadn't any idea what it was. Finally, we asked him how many pounds of milk the cow produced each year. The farmer shook his head and said, 'I don't know. Well, she's an honest old cow, and she'll give you all the milk she has.' Well, I'm like the cow. I'll give you everything I have." My friends, listen. Listen very carefully. You can play the comparison game all you want with other people, and it doesn't really what anybody else says. You may feel like you're not measuring up to what it takes, to what you believe that it takes, to the benchmark that's already been set to succeed in whatever. I'm not talking about making $1 million here. I'm not trying to be a life coach. I'm not trying to be a motivational guru. I'm just talking about where you live every day. I'm talking to the everyday man. Okay? And when you play the comparison game, I have a lot to say about this. I'll be making a video about the power of comparison here pretty soon. But when you play the comparison game, you got to be very careful. There's a lot of benchmarks set, and you never know where they are exactly. You think you do. But what really matters is that you give it all you have. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be good looking. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to have expert knowledge in everything. You just have to give it everything you have. Isn't that right? When it comes to making YouTube channels, this is where I feel this. My content is much like a lot of other people's, right? I mean, it's not dissimilar in a lot of ways. You know, I try to bring my own unique take on things to shed light on certain topics to make you think. But I'm not special. I'm not unique. And I like to think that I am, but I look at other YouTubers who are doing very similar things, and their channels skyrocket in subscriptions and viewership and whatnot. And I know that a lot of other YouTubers feel the same way, right? And it can be discouraging. You might want to feel like giving up. And I'm just using this as an example from my own life. I'm just trying to be authentic with you here, just transparent. Because this is how it affects me. And it affects me in other areas too. I mean, in my marriage, in raising kids, and all the things I've mentioned before. But you don't have to be perfect. And we tend to feel like maybe that's what our problem is we're not good enough. We're not good enough. We haven't found the perfect formula. And sometimes, folks, listen, it doesn't come down to that. Like, for instance, YouTube comes down to just to algorithms. Who they choose to highlight, who they choose to put on recommended list. It has nothing to do with you necessarily, because surely you've seen videos that are terrible and they're doing great, right? And you've seen parents with who do very little with their children, and they do better than you do, right? You're giving your children all you have. It seems like, right? And you're doing the best you can in your job, and you feel like you're going to be easily replaced. All these things are reality, but in truth, what you have to remember is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the best. You just have to give everything you have. It's about being authentic. Do you want to be perfect? Do you want to be the golden child? Or do you want to be authentic? Because let me tell you something. It doesn't pay to wear a conscious mask around, because people will never see the real you if you do that. Be authentic, give everything you have, and let the cards fall where they may. You may not want to hear that, but I think that when you do that, then the stars align and you will be where you ought to be. You may not ever be where you think you want to be, but doesn't mean you won't be where you should be. Not everything is for everybody, and everybody has a station in life, and you have to be willing to accept that. And I think you get there by being authentic and giving everything you have. I hope that's helped. I hope it's meant something to you. Share it with somebody if you like, somebody that needs to hear it. Please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. But that's what this channel for me is all about. Just being authentic with you guys, giving you everything I have. And we'll see where it goes. And I hope that you can do the same thing wherever you're at today, wherever you're at in life, however things may seem to be now. Just be yourself and give everything you have. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.